Hey guys, it's the RWBY Nation podcast. Admin Wilt here, and today I'm joined by Admin Blush,
Hello.
Melodic Cudgel,
Okay.
Mercury,
What's up?
and Nolan.
Sup?
Alright guys, well, today we're going to be talking about both the finale episode, Volume 4, Chapter 12, No Safe Haven, as well as sort of getting an overall idea and opinions about the volume as a whole. But we're going to go right into introduction thoughts and just what everyone's first thought about this episode was. And for that, I'm going to start with Blush on this one.
Yes, I have to say they probably handled the situation throughout this entire episode very well. First of all, they teased us a little bit with what every fan was panicking about and what we were panicking about all volume. But we went through this episode without any deaths. And everyone is either genuinely surprised or just very much happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also happy to see that even halfway through this episode, when the major issue was dealt with, we were still handed a buttload of other information to process and deal with, and along with with some closing thoughts and twists that get us ready or are just our minds turning for the next volume. So overall, they handled this finale in the best way they could have, and I'm really happy for it. They pulled it off.
Okay. And Melodic?
I rather enjoyed how they had John step into the role of being an actual hero for a change. He's blocked the Nuclear when he, using his sword, and the upgrade to the sword itself was out of the blue. Never saw anything like that coming. It was quite enjoyable, all things together. And finally, I liked how when they're taking the flight back and they see Mistral, and John just gives Ruby this look that was, I just absolutely loved that look.
For sure. And Mercury?
Possibly the second most desired ship has now been completed. Thank you, Rooster Teeth, for not letting it sink. And if what we saw in that episode, in the remainder of the episode, is to say anything, Volume 5 is going to suck. Their death flag's gonna be waving every episode, no matter what happens.
Okay. If I may interrupt here, you thought you had enough with the bossing say crap with Menagerie. Now we have an entire kingdom that is bossing say with the Dai Li and everything.
Oh man.
Alright, and Nolan.
Well, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube ring was a surprise.
Couldn't resist.
That I think that's what everyone was thinking when we saw that. I know that's what my mind went to.
My mind went to the Crooked Man, and that just made the Grim even more terrifying.
Sure.
But nope, everyone's like, oh, stretchy arms, lol, that can't be scary. It totally didn't help him dominate that fight. Thank you.
Done with
So anyway,
admit it.
When Ran was killing the thing with his father's knife, I was just kind of, there were chills going down my spine every time he spoke. I don't know if that was just me or not, but it was great. And of course, Ren and Nora, Ruby's feels letter, and Yang's new outfit.
Okay. Yeah, all very powerful moments in the episode for sure. But speaking of the episode, going right into it, I want to get everyone's thoughts on how they thought about the actual fight itself between Ranger and the Nuclear Grim. Just what did you think about just the animation of it, like the things that we found out, like it was mentioned Jean's upgrade to the sword that we found out about, and just all of these different moments that have happened. Were there any just fantastic moments in the fight itself that stood out to you, and that you just don't think you're going to be able to forget moving forward in the show. And for that, I'm going to start actually on the opposite side of the spectrum with Nolan on this one.
All right. Well, the lead up was a bit long. I'm not really going to complain about the fight much. I really enjoyed it, especially the part at the end where they nailed it down. When Nora got pinned to the wall with the thing's arm, I was holding my breath until they zoomed up, and then unnecessary suspense right there. They need to stop teasing killing our ships, or stop teasing our ships and just tell us these two are in love. These two will never fall in love. These two are gonna die. Pyrrha's gonna die.
You mentioning that actually made me think of something. It's like there should be a side sort of job description in the writers for RWBY that just says ship sinker. Alright, that was definitely, I fully agree with you on that. Mercury?
Like mentioned before, Jean's sword was really out of the blue and really took me by surprise. RWBY didn't really do much to like really stand out, in my opinion. But, and also as what Nolan said, once Nora got pinned to the tower, and then we all know where Ren was looking.
Oh, yes.
That is like, that's just gonna stick with me. Like, I can't get that out of my head.
That blush, though.
That blush.
You called?
Oh, gosh.
But also the fact that Nora had to be the one to step in and get Ren to cool off and remember what he was fighting for the whole time.
Okay.
That was also a pretty good moment. And
Sure.
yeah, that's it.
And Melodic?
No glumps for John.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Blush.
My heart, throughout that fight, was just worrying and panicking for everyone's safety. Like, this thing got huge build-up throughout most of the volume. I was just concerned with how our heroes were going to handle it. And honestly, just seeing how fast this thing was moving during the fight, how its limbs react through general movements, and also its reach and speed just kept me terrified. And it's like, oh god, how do you handle this? How do you handle this monster of a Grimm that's been around for so long? And then, as I was kindly reminded sometime afterwards, oh wait, this is something Ren was terrified with. He's not that much of a powerhouse. What am I thinking? But, yes, as the others have said, just throughout this fight between the cutout with Nora, which I actually disagree with, I actually just went wide-eyed and felt my heart stopping for a bit when the screen went black, because I actually thought they were going for the Thor was killed by a knuckle beat route that was hinted a couple podcasts ago.
Okay.
And yes, of course, we can't forget just Nora's reaction to Ren's reaction to the fight in general, and also the fact that Ren, for the first time in many years, saw Nora as a scared little girl hiding under the house.
Yeah.
It was also sweet.
I
Also, John,
definitely have to agree with you on a lot of that, yeah.
John, what was with your sword upgrade? You did nothing with it.
He did a few
hit his
things. I
leg.
mean, it basically converted it. I mean, science-wise, it technically didn't do all that much, because, I mean, the weight would have been the exact same. The overall size of it didn't really increase that much, but it looked cool.
I would have at least appreciated it if he had use the combo to at least pin the arm down, considering it's got 2 extra spikes like a
Well, he did
tonsil or
pin it.
something.
Yeah, but Ren needed the shield to help hold it down.
True.
He pinned it with his default sword. He didn't pin it with the sword and sheath combo.
Oh, did he not?
Yeah, because
No,
Ren
it
was
was
holding it
separate.
down with the shield.
No,
That's
when he
true.
when he pinned the arm down as they when everyone was pinning the Knucklevi down, right, or John pinned his arm down using just the sword itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually didn't
Yeah.
notice that. I thought he was using the upgrade, but now that you mention it, yeah, I can see that. That is
Adding
interesting.
the weight of the shield to the sword is fast by at least the same amount, if not more. And it was when he was using those attacks that he was actually doing damage. That was one of the 2 attacks that caused the Nuclear to shriek out.
Fair enough.
I feel like with Jean's increased training that he's been doing, like, I saw a comment that actually was super funny. It's like, Jean has been grinding the hell out of his strength stat. And that was just really funny to me as someone who, like, does D&D and does a bunch of video games. Like, that was a very fitting comment that sort of makes sense as well. I mean, he has been improving a lot, and it definitely showed with this fight. As for
And
me,
somehow not affecting his sleep status. Continue.
yeah. But as for me, like, the main section of the fight that probably hit me the hardest was, like, I had a few moments where it's like, I was extremely excited because I had properly called something that I wasn't sure if it was going to happen or not, but I 100% called the Rin using his father's knife as the finishing weapon, and so I'm happy that I was able to tell that. But my favorite part of the episode was actually when Nora had sort of taken Rin underneath the house and sort of just smacked some sense into him, because I was sitting there and I'm like, Rin, you're being careless. You're being an idiot. Quit it. I know you're angry, but this is not the time. You're gonna get yourself killed. And at the moment when Nora finally snapped him out of that was probably one of the most powerful moments between the two that I've ever witnessed. And so that was probably my favorite part of the entire, like, section of the episode. But going from the fight itself to sort of a little bit of up in the air question. I know some of you, I'm sure a lot of us actually, were somewhat expecting a death this episode, and I'm curious if you felt that way, and if so, who did you think it was going to be? And I'm going to start with Blush on this.
As I said, my heart was just in a cautious and worrying state throughout the entire episode, even long after the fight, because, certain status ailments still in the air. But I was just concerned. It was more than likely going to be either Ren, Nora, or Qrow, and the answer was none of the above. And I'm actually really happy for that, because, for one, we haven't been getting too much into Ren or Nora for any of either of their deaths to make too much of an impact at this point. And also, Qrow was kind of not in the spotlight throughout the episode, so it would have been a little bit off pace for him to just bite the dust while everything else was going on. So I'm just happy everyone pulled through. Although I will say I was a little cautious for Qrow until we got confirmation of him cured from his injury.
Okay, and Melodic?
I actually didn't think anyone was going to die because it did not make sense thematically.
Yeah, I remember you actually bringing that up in one of the previous podcasts where you had sort of explained how, since there wasn't really a positive effect from a death, there wouldn't really be a point other than just straight up just killing a character off. And so I actually do remember you bringing that up previously. So I was sort of in the same boat with you on that, just solely based on what you said in a previous podcast, actually. There was still the thought in the back of my mind, but like what you said in the previous podcast actually sort of eased my heart a little bit, because I was like, yeah, that really wouldn't make that much sense. But from there, Mercury, what do you think?
I was also going on the idea that Melodic had put up that no one, like, there was no reason for a death, because it goes back to when Sun was also at risk, because, like, there's no benefit to them dying. It's just going to make things worse, and people are going to freak out. But during the fight, when Nora and Ren both lost their aura, I started worrying quite a bit. Thankfully, though, none of them died.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't on the edge of my seat during those moments. And to finish up with this question, Nolan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I have to call back on Melodic again, because he convinced me that no one was going to die this volume a while ago. But there's still that constant fear of, what if he's wrong? What if Nora, Ren, or Qrow die? What if they all die? That'd be too much, I guess.
Oh god.
I was worried about Qrow the most going into the fight, and the more I watched it, the more I thought Ren and Nora would be safe, actually. And by the end of the fight, I completely forgot about Qrow. And when Ruby ran off to Qrow, I actually thought, where's she going? Oh yeah, Qrow.
Okay. And, like, that actually makes a lot of sense, because I sort of had a very similar feeling about Qrow as well, where I sort of just forgot about him until he actually got brought in again, and that's when I immediately went from, okay, they're fine, oh god, Qrow. And I sort of had a similar switch moment, so that's very funny. But going from there, the fight has now been completed. We've gotten to see a lot of awesome action between Ranger and this demonic Nuclear Grim, and it was very cool. But right after that, they are rescued by the people of Mistral and are being taken into the town. And as soon as they get there, RWBY begins this sort of monologue-esque paper that she's writing back to her family. And during this time, we get to find out a little bit about where the other members of Team RWBY currently are. And we learn that not only is Weiss headed to Mistral, but Yang is also headed there as well. And so that was the big sort of like decision that she's made, even though like it took me some time to actually look at to figure out for sure, was Yang going there or not, because I think like during the other thing that we did video wise, in that thing I basically went from, oh, she's getting on that bus, she's headed to Menagerie, she's going to see Blake, oh no, wait, nope, she's not in Menagerie, oh now she's in, okay, oh now she could, oh did she go to her mom, oh no she went to, okay. And I think I flip-flopped like 5 times and I couldn't figure it out, and I rewatched the episode like 3 times at that section just so I could fully figure out, like, is she going here or not? And I finally decided, yes, she turned towards RWBY. So that, god dang it, it took me way longer than it should have, but we got to find out that she is headed to Mistral, so we will get 3/4 of Team RWBY back together in one place. And I want to know what you guys think, how this is going to be handled in Volume 5. Nolan?
Well, going back to Yang, she still brought that picture of Stark with her, so obviously she's probably going to do both. Like, okay. She would not just bring that picture for no reason, right?
Well, I mean, she sort of always had the picture, I think, so it may be just a reminder to her, like, this is important to her, but RWBY at the moment is more important.
Well, are you sure she always had the picture?
Yeah, because she was surprised when Qrow showed it to her the first time.
Yeah, and that was Qrow's picture.
I guess that's right.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I guess she always had something connecting her to her mom, though. It's just the picture itself was just like she had to have a picture of her mom somewhere. It's not the first time she's ever seen her mom.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
suppose. And with Blake, I think she's gonna head back to Mistral because near the end of Volume 3, Adam, before Cinder came and destroyed the camp, said about something about going back to Mistral. And if they want to take the White Fang back or usurp Adam from whatever power he has, then perhaps they'd go to Mistral as well, because of Winter's report to Ironwood, there's a bunch of arms gathering in Haven, just like there was at Beacon, and the White Fang were behind that, so shouldn't Adam be there too?
Okay. I could definitely see some sustenance behind that. Mercury, what do you have to say?
Volume 5, I think, is going to be one massive standoff. Because, think about it, RWBY is there to just, like, stop Cinder because they knew Cinder was from Mistral. So that's why Ranger's there. Yang went there to back RWBY up, and now we also realize Raven as well, so she's there as well. Weiss is going there because Winter is there, and we're getting all the reports that the arms build up. And then the White Fang, they already know from Ilya Skrull that they're planning to attack Haven Academy, overthrow the White Fang and everything. So it's going to be one big standoff between the Huntsman in Mistral, along with Team RWBY and the rest of Juniper, against the whole White Fang, Cinder if she's there, or whoever else may pop up on the villain side.
Okay. And Melodic?
Well, if we're looking into season 5, first, I believe the 3 members of RWBY, Yang, and Weiss will meet up fairly quickly, and we'll have Ranger break up into Junior and RWBY without Blake. Blake will get reunited later into the season, if not at the very end, while Juniper is going to get reformed with Oscar Pine as the new P for Juniper.
Ah.
Okay. And I actually did see a few things suggesting that as well in a few of the comments on Rooster Teeth about that, about how Oscar could be sort of the replacement member, and we'll actually talk about that a little bit later. But I'm gonna finish up with Blush for this one.
Okay, first of all, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's pointing this out. All 4 are going to be reunited in Mistral, not 3 of them. And while I have some other cliff notes down, I want to get these out of the way. First of all, damn, you reused set pieces. And back onto
Wait.
the picture thing.
Talking about Haven?
Yang's motorcycle trip.
Oh. Because
And,
Haven was just a bunch of copy and pasted buildings all over the place.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, everyone thought Yang got off the ship to Menagerie at first as well, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, when she got off the ship, I was like, she's going after Blake!
Yay!
Glad I'm not the only
Wait,
one.
what?
Everyone, come on, everyone thought that.
Thank God.
Bumblebee for everyone. Yang's getting on Bumblebee to create Bumblebee.
I mean,
I'm okay with this.
When I thought about it, it made sense. They're at a port. There's a beach. Okay, fine.
Don't forget the ship's name is Pride.
And to
Yeah.
get the last thing off my checklist, imagine if Yang had that picture the entire time. Can you imagine what she would be told what that picture would be if she was like 2 years old? Oh, it's a pic of your Uncle Qrow, your dad, and your mom. But who's the second lady? Your mom.
And
And anyway, what was the question again?
frick, man.
Well, just what is happening with Team Rain, or just the crew in Volume 5? Like, what do you think this is going to be the big climactic moment, or do you think they're going to wait a little bit?
That depends on what the protagonist of Final Fantasy VIII is going to do to everyone. But before we get into that, yes, I definitely believe everyone's going to be reunited first, and I hadn't even thought about the Oscar replacing Kira thing.
Okay.
I honestly don't know how that introduction is going to go down.
It'll be interesting. I feel like Qrow's gonna have to be like, hey, Ozpin's back type deal. But going from there, we get to learn a little bit more, not only about the protagonist side, but also about the villains a little bit. We got to see a few snippets of clips, mostly showing a few things that I found extremely interesting, and I want to know your thoughts on it. But Salem and this big plan of hers is starting to come into more fruition. We're starting to see that unfold in front of us. We've seen now a clip of Cinder almost seeming more aggressive and angry and things, and the first thing that came to my mind for that was this possible treatment that she's going under maybe affecting that, because Salem sort of had that like devilish grin on her face after Cinder destroyed the hollow like projection of RWBY, and it just seemed like something that Cinder, I mean, she's a bad guy, but just something seemed off about her. And then we also got to see Watts is meeting with Headmaster Lionhart, and we got to learn that he might actually be in cahoots with Salem. And so learning all of these developments, I want to know, like, what do you guys think Salem's big move for Volume 5 will be? Nolan?
Well, first, I don't think Lionheart's just a little bit in cahoots. At the beginning of Volume 4, it was said that Watts would be sent to their informant. And if the informant is the guy that runs the place they're trying to destroy, I'm just going to say he's straight up evil.
Okay. Mercury? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, finish up.
I think Lionheart might introduce himself as a good guy to RWBY and Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does that, we all know, like, oh, this guy is evil. Don't trust him. And then everyone's going to trust him. And then we're just going to be expecting a stab in the back at any moment.
Okay. It'd make for some interesting writing, that's for sure.
Oh, wait, real quick. With the Wizard of Oz connections and everything, the Cowardly Lion was pretty much the only one we didn't know for sure who it was. And now that we have straight up Lionheart, someone who is going over to the evil side, maybe because he's a coward. So
On that note,
That actually is an interesting thought. Okay.
On that note, I will say Lando Calrissian, but without any redemption moments.
dude, come on.
Yet.
Right.
Yes.
And Mercury?
It seems that Cinder is channeling her inner Palpatine and letting the hate flow through her. But, Salem's plan, I think, is, she's gonna have Lionheart maybe give her the relic of Mistral, and then at the same time, somehow they're able to discover the relic hidden down a beacon at last, so she has half of ultimate power, essentially. And then, which I think may speed up a lot of things with the characters, because then that means they have even less time to stop Salem before she destroys all of humanity. And then for Lionheart being necessarily evil, I'm going to assume he's a faunist, and I'm just off in the name of Leo and then Lionheart, both representing lion. I have a feeling that he's gonna maybe see that, like, it's gonna be like Adam, but without the overly violent tendencies, you know? Like, he wants what's best for Faunus, but they can't do anything, so... And Salem goes, oh, but I can help out all the Faunus if you just help me get this power. He may see that as a more better method to save the Faunus, even though it's evil, it's backstabbing in a way. And it's not confronting the challenge at all, which makes sense for the Cowardly Lion. He would shy away from it.
Okay. And Melodic?
expecting anything like what Merc had just suggested. That is an absolutely superb idea for a character, because having someone who's just evil or just a coward or something like that is boring. But having a character who is doing something for what he sees to be the greater good, and he's genuinely trying to help a group of people who are being tread upon, then how can you truly hate him if he's actually got good intentions, especially if Salem ends up backstabbing him?
Okay, so
They do say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so sort of like what with you and Mercury both saying, like he may end up being one of those gray area characters that people may not hate him. If they end up hating him, they may end up hating him solely for the fact of working with the wrong side, but there might be some people who sort of, like you guys said, like he's trying to do the right thing, so you can't be truly, I guess, mad at him. You just hope he makes better decisions going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's grim.
Eh?
Oh,
Yeah, I
Alright.
apologize for that.
And Blush, what do you think?
I'm not going to get way too detailed with theories on a character we essentially know nothing about so far. We have yet to even get a face on this guy, and the moment we see his face and he's not a Faunus, that one theory's already out the damn window, so...
So what about Gira?
Well, she's just
Well-
dust in the wind, so...
Gira
Not pure.
is a faunus. We
Oh.
just don't know exactly what his faunus feature
Oh,
is
Gira.
yet.
Panther.
I'd like to think he got his tail ripped off or something.
What is wrong with you, man?
Come on, that's good. That's
So close.
so close to what?
Alright, well, going from sort of Salem's plans and what could happen going forward,
Oh,
we sort of get a little bit of a sneak preview. Well, not even a sneak preview. We got an ending after credit scene, which actually a lot of people may not have even known about that are watching this. But yes, there is an after credit scene. RWBY has almost always done this. But going straight to the after credit scene, we got to learn that Oscar is officially in Mistral, and he is meeting up with Qrow, specifically because Ozpin wants his cane back. And I want to know what you guys think Oscar's role in this series is going to be moving forward. Is he going to be this sort of leader-esque role due to him being connected with Ozpin? Is he going to be trained by Qrow? Is he going to join up with Ranger Juniper and just sort of fill in the gaps there, since RWBY is coming back together? Will Juniper need a replacement, and Oscar is to do that? I know that's been brought up already, but I sort of want to know, like, do you guys think multiple of these things will happen? And for that, I'm going to start with Blush.
I think for now Oscar's definitely going to be in Ozpin in training as he's helping out everyone, assuming if Qrow does introduce him to everybody and not keep him hidden, which honestly you think he might try to keep Oscar's identity a secret to as many people as possible. You know, just to keep the whole theme of Ozpin being behind the scenes and not at the front.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
it's going to be a little difficult to say on that until we see how things develop.
For sure. And Melodic, what do you think?
I want to know when he's going to give Austin coffee.
oh, yep, there it is.
Yep.
What happened?
What if Oscar hates coffee?
People,
That'll be
He's
an
just gonna
interesting
leave his
conversation.
body. He's just gonna leave his body. Osmond's gonna find something else.
Person.
I always find out that it was tea the whole time.
Yeah.
I just realized how little we know about Ozpin's cup.
True.
That's the joke.
Oh,
All
man.
right.
It was the entire time.
And Mercury.
I can't remember if this was said or not by Ozpin in the show, but I think Ozpin wanted him to meet Leo. I can't be 100% sure on that.
You're
I
right.
believe he did.
I think he just said for him to go to Haven.
Well, I think it was brought up that like he wanted to meet with the headmaster of Mistral, because like to Ozpin it was a friend of his, and odds are Ozpin is just trying to get a grip on the relics and things like that. So I remember specifically them talking about him going to meet with the headmaster, but I can't remember
They talked
the
about
exact
his
quote for that.
office.
It would also explain why Ozpin made him remember what the headmaster's room would look like in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that was just to prove that we are one now. You remember everything I remember.
It's
That's
possible. And
But
My
Yeah.
old friend. He's currently the headmaster of Haven Academy. He used to be quite the emo back in the day, but he got a sick scar on his face, and it made the ladies love him as much as they loved his hair
Yeah.
and his gunblade.
that was bad, and you should feel bad.
I've been joking about this since I saw his name plaque.
okay. And Nolan, what do you think?
Well, I'm just gonna get this out of the way first. I low-key want Oscar to fall for RWBY in some capacity.
You just want your
Just
ship to go
because-
through.
Just because of all of the conversations Ozpin would have with Oscar to either help or inhibit the conversations. Either way, it'll be hilarious for us, and RWBY have no idea what's going on unless she finds out that her old teacher is inside this boy that she may or may not like.
That
Let's save that to a Ruby Chibi skit, shall we?
well,
Yeah.
Or
I-
one guy on
the
No,
whole
actually, I wanna see this
when
happen.
someone brought up the fact of like Oscar may be something with RWBY, I immediately had a thought about if any of you guys have watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I immediately thought of Piccolo with the voices in his head and just how they would pretty much inhibit everything that he does. And I just want, like you said, for that to happen with Oscar, just for the, like, comic relief, if anything. Like, everything's been so dark. At least just have that to be some funny moment in there, just for the fun of it. Like, I'd be fine with that.
And then a character dies, and you regret any
Yep.
comic relief being present.
Exactly.
Can we
They're
discuss-
gonna give me the comic relief right before a death, and then I'm gonna be like, haha, that was really funny. I love you guys. I hate you.
Can we discuss how old Oscar is for a second?
14.
Sure.
I'd say
Maybe.
14 through 16.
Yeah,
A little
somewhere
younger
around
than
there.
RWBY.
I thought he was possibly 10 or 12.
He's not that
This
young.
is
Voice.
not a Pokemon trainer, okay?
I don't know. He
Alright.
just left his guardian's house at a young age to go on a journey across the world. I mean,
I mean, he's
All
old
because
enough to
some
go
hero-
and
and
be
all,
doing
all
all this
because some
stuff.
all because this weird old professor guy told him to do so.
I wouldn't say weird. It's if a voice
sorta
came into
weird.
my head that I could tangibly hear, I'd be inclined to listen to it a little bit.
I'd be thinking,
Gotta
oh
catch 'em
wow,
all,
I
gotta
finally
catch
got
'em all.
insane. About time.
Gotta catch them all.
I would have a good conversation with it or her.
Yeah. All right. Well, as far as the episode itself, that pretty much does it for the finale. Now I want to get everyone's final thoughts on just if anything sort of got talked over, or if you remembered anything specifically that you want to bring up now. And then we're going to take just a few minutes to sort of get everyone's thoughts on the volume as a whole and how it's come to a close now. So I want to get everyone's just final thoughts on the episode specifically, and I'm going to start with Blush on this.
Well, first of all, Edward Elric just called Alphonse Elric a pipsqueak.
Oh, come on, you stole that.
Yes, I did.
I saw that
And I
pop up in chat
facepalmed,
the other day.
and I face palmed when I read it because it actually threw me off guard. But yes,
I just
thank
nodded
you.
in pleasure.
Anyway, I never did get to talk about that whole Cinder moment earlier, and all I have to say is, son, you were wrong about Cinder possibly reforming. It's clear where she wants to be. And where she is in a very dark place. All while she screams unlimited power through Salem's words.
Okay.
Also want to know how Emerald got information out of Giggle's mind while he was having his little psycho episode from previous episode. That was
He
terrible.
probably has paintings all over his room now of her. And Emerald just walked in, looked around,
What's
like,
that?
goes, okay, I got this.
Okay. And Melodic.
Well, there's been a lot of criticism about the ending letter, and I actually felt the letter was an important counterpart to the previous season's ending, where Salem gets revealed that she's this ominous narrator. Well, in this instant, we had the smaller soul saying her mind.
Okay. And that was definitely a nice way to end the volume. It's not as dark a tone as it was last volume for sure. So yeah, that's definitely a good point to bring up. And Mercury?
It's... Oh, sorry.
That letter hit me straight in the feels. Especially when it panned to Jean, Ren, and Nora all looking at the
Ooh.
weapons.
I feel like I've heard you say that before. I don't know why.
And then the now very popular edit of that scene of Kira going all over the place.
Oh yeah.
How's Luna to shed tears? That is pretty good art.
But overall, the ending is it tries to it embodies what Volume 4 was meant to be at the beginning at the beginning, which is meant to be more hopeful, more optimistic, more positive. Because at the Volume 3 showing in theaters, they had a short video of the Volume 4 intro and how they were trying to create the music for the episode, and they said the music is supposed to fit the volume. So and they stated that Let's Just Live is meant to be more upbeat, more optimistic, that sort of thing. And that music now, it connects back to the whole show, and at the end of Ruby's letter, it ties the whole optimistic, we can survive mindset, and that's what made Volume 4, I think, a lot stronger. Was it's not just utter depression and having your ship sunk or your new waifu about to get killed or something like that. It's showing that after everything they've been through, they can still persevere.
Okay.
If I may follow up on that, this continues even into the ending credits theme, Armed and Ready.
God, I love that song. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Let's
So
Just
good.
Live was gonna be my favorite song, and then that happened. I'm like, oh crap.
I rocked
Hybrid
out to
Part
it.
2.
I freaking rocked out.
Sorry to go on a little tangent on this. There are very few songs with actual vocals in this volume. Because if you look at the credits, there's only 5 songs.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed
vocals.
that, actually, because I brought that up in that other video, and like that was the first thing I noticed when looking through the credits. I'm like, there's got to be more songs than that.
They'll do a couple of reprises because they've done that in the past where they've had several songs done differently for the vocalization and such. So
Yeah,
We
they'll,
had 2 remixes of Boop in the span of 2 or 3 episodes.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm not
The
gonna
thing
complain. I'm
is,
still gonna
though,
buy
I
the
was
soundtrack.
The thing is, though, now that we know
Buy
that
all the soundtracks.
Already did.
Sorry to go continue this music tangent, but it now fully appears that we should definitely be getting a From Shadows Part 2 at some point.
That
Okay.
was actually named in the credits. The second song under Let's Live was what the title of that song.
Wait, what? There was no From Shadows Part 2.
Because it had a different title.
I have to go through the credits again to see this, and Armed and Ready, we can basically say is I Burned Volume 2.
Yeah. There was one song that went unnamed though, when I think it was right before RWBY started doing the letter, when Casey was doing that opera voice. That was the unnamed song that had lyrics to it.
Okay.
Unless that's part of the song Weiss was singing in episode 6.
Oh, come on, let us have more
Yeah,
songs,
I know
man.
that one is still technically unnamed, but everyone
was
sort
It
of...
had a song.
It was named in the end.
Yeah. Hang on.
Okay. Well, I mean, I
What
know...
was it? This life is mine.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
but, like, to finish up with this finale, Nolan, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, first of all, comparatively to volumes 1 through 3, I love how mature volume 4 is.
Yes.
It's a lot of people when they first got into RWBY were really just in it for the combat. Sure, there was some story on the side here, but I think volume 4 is really starting to sift out the fans from the people that are just here for their top 10 anime fights.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can agree with that, actually.
I really enjoyed the development. As kind of slow as it was, that's what builds up to, at least in my opinion, a great ending. Because imagine all of this crashing down, I don't know, 5-10 years from now. Yeah, that's being a bit generous. Or maybe not. Show our kids volume 13.
Who
If
knows?
it go on that long, I'll be happy as hell.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, I also just
apparently...
wanted to point out.
Some of us are already showing our nieces and nephews RWBY, so...
Okay, well then my generation, so I will show his grandkids or something.
When we're holding Tira and Nadir's kids, we're gonna be like,
As,
you know
as
that
long...
show they like? Now we're gonna make you binge watch it. Have fun, kids.
Oh, there was that comic where these
They're all
fans named their
grandparents,
kids
they
Pura
give
and
us sleep.
John. But anyway,
Are we talking about a time when Zwei isn't going to be a tiny little baby mammoth?
should I mention his female friend?
No,
I think
not
it'd be
here.
a bad idea. Okay.
I'm
Sorry,
honestly-
just, okay, going back. Dr. Watts, his name in the credits, his first name is Arthur. How unsurprising is that?
Very.
Damn Brit.
Because as soon as I saw that, I just, for some reason, I felt like I knew his name was Arthur Watts. He is such an Arthur.
It's like we were discussing a while back when Tyrion introduced himself to Ranger. It's like, everything you're saying is, like, psychotic and crazy and everything, but it's also to the point where we can predict every psychotic and crazy thing that you would say. Like, nothing is a surprise.
That kind of surprised me when he cut off Qrow.
Yeah.
I think it was a good touch, at least.
It
Okay.
seems like whenever there's a very obvious trope in the way Rooster Teeth likes to shut it down immediately, just look at the brain cells joke.
No responses.
I just thought of something horrifying, and it's really stupid, in all honesty. You know that Arthur meme about, like, when he's holding his fist, and
Oh
it's,
my
like,
God.
to the caption?
Oh, God.
It's gonna be a zoomed out picture of Watts holding his fist, like, really angrily, and then, like, when they say mustaches aren't cool anymore. Hold his fist.
Okay.
Well, I think we just found our, if someone makes it, the fan art of the week.
I still need to
Alright,
do the
well-
cool.
Oh wait. I'm sorry.
you talking about?
One more thing. About the combat in Volume 4. I'm sure everyone knows about the massive complaints they have all been getting, but this should be expected as the usual. But that fight scene with Qrow and Tyrion, I think that proved that they can definitely give us a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not placing it in every other episode because,
They
again,
want it to
story,
be
not
really
combat.
good.
Yeah.
They're holding it back for next volume, probably.
Oh,
Because that's
man.
when all the action's gonna come out, because they have to defend Mistral.
But when do you see Watts' weapon? I want to know what that is.
It's gonna be a
And-
pipe that's also. It's gonna be a cob pipe that it's also a gun.
See, I
I could deal with
originally
that.
I would have said it's gonna be a cane, but I feel like that's played out now.
That's 3. That'd be
Um,
3 at that point.
Yeah.
What do you say to
so
that,
I feel like
Melodic?
it's a little overused. Watts' weapon is the one thing that I've also been thinking about, and I really am not too sure. Maybe it could be like a dueling pistol look type something. So it's got to be look like old timey or steampunky, I think.
What if
he's
he's
true to
true
his name?
electricity? His name
Yeah.
is Watts. That's a unit
Yeah.
for power.
He's true to
Yeah,
his name and has just this Tulsa gun.
That would
Honestly,
be cool.
honestly, from what little we've seen of Watt so far, I can't help but it seeming like this scumbag hidden underneath my sleeve, like sort of stun taser.
He does give off the stab you in the back vibe.
What's the
Okay.
game called? Order 1886 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I know what you're talking about.
Like- Every single one of those characters combined is Watts.
Yeah. Well, this has
You mean the
definitely
game nobody
been.
likes? The game that everybody likes to look at, but nobody likes to play.
I mean, the people who played it had fun. They just didn't think it was $60 worth.
I don't know. The critics sure didn't.
Well, because it was like a 6-hour campaign and they paid $60 for it. It was the
6
shortest campaign
hours.
ever. Yeah, it looked gorgeous and
And-
even played well. It's just, you don't sell a game like that.
And to
Destiny.
make my second adult joke throughout these podcasts, for $10 an hour, I'm sure I could be having a lot more fun and enjoyment.
Where?
Well,
Why don't you come over and find out?
alright, well,
Fun.
this has been a very fun podcast, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed. We actually, I'm going to talk to you guys, the fans watching right now. This has sort of been the first of 4, actually, RWBY Nation podcasts that we are going to be doing for the finale. Each one being just a little bit different with a different set of admins on. The next one, we'll be talking about a few different topics and things like that, since this one mostly went over the episode itself. Some of the other ones will be opinions from the other admins about more the volume as a whole, similar to how we did the ending of this podcast. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching. If you have, make sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like the video down below and share it with as many people and RWBY fans as you know. It helps us get the word out and grow this channel so that we can continue providing quality content to you guys through this channel. But this has been Admin's Wilt with Blush.
Wait, can I get one more thing in?
All right.
Here's the Chibi Volume 2.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yep.
Clink. Okay, do your thing.
All right. And we're signing off with Admin Blush.
Game is
something.
not my thing.
There you go.
Melodic Cudgel.
I will return, wielded by you.
Oh,
Oh, bullshit. I'm more
Uh.
likely to come back next volume than you.
I'm sure not.
You were at least in the intro. Sorry, Nolan.
Mercury.
I just read. Oh yeah, Mercury didn't speak the entire volume. Just putting that out there.
My eyebrows did all the speaking that needed to.
Yeah, you're
Follow
right.
us at Real RWBY Nation on Twitter.
Dang it, man.
They couldn't afford Yuri Lowenthal anymore.
We'll do the promotions at the end. And
Follow us
thanks
on Twitter.
for Admin Nolan for joining us on the first time on the podcast.
Yep, wanted to say it first for last.
All right, well, if you guys want somewhere else to go, be sure to go check out RWBY Nation on Facebook. We are a fan-run RWBY page over there. We post daily content, and a lot of it, of all different types. We just started up our own Twitter, actually, RWBY Nation over there. You guys should also go and check out the streams that we do, both RWBY Nation on Twitch, and there's other of the admin's personal channels over there as well. And we normally will post both to the Twitter and the Facebook page whenever someone is live. So if you haven't already, go follow over there to know when we're streaming. And like I said before, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. We have a lot of great content that'll be coming out here very soon. And while this sort of we're in between seasons, even before RWBY Chibi Volume 2 comes out, we will be having plenty more content of all different types coming out. So I thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.
Give us likes.
Ah.